Welcome back to Retirement News Online. So market volatility makes everybody nervous, but it can be really nerve-wracking if you are a retiree taking income at that time, because this directly affects the amount of your income. My guest is Mark Henry, who practices with Alloy Wealth in Charlotte, North Carolina. Mark, thanks for joining us. It's been said that market losses or corrections are much worse for retirees. Why is that the case?
Well, think about like the red zone, Scott. I call the red zone, and you know, people that know me in Charlotte, of course, know I'm not the big football guy, but the red zone for me is that 5 years before retirement and the 5 years after. That 10-year period right there, it may be the most important in the whole darn thing. Think of it this way. If you had been a retiree in 2006 or 2007, and then late 07 and 08, you lose 20, 30, 40 or more percent of your assets, it changed everything. You're still working. You're still now not retired, back working. And you know, when people want to work after retirement because they have passion and they want to do things, that's awesome. But you don't want to have to go back to work because you lost your money.
So many retirees and advisors assume to get more growth that they need to take on more risk. You don't agree with that, do you?
Well, you know, risk is, and I've said it many times, risk is determined. Age certainly has something to do with it, but it's really an individual thing. The idea, though, is most people don't even know the risk they are taking. So there's nothing wrong with markets moving up and down. Obviously, we want them to always go up. We had a long period where they kind of did that for a little while. That's pretty cool. But markets are going to do what markets do. It's really more about your financial plan. Does your financial plan allow you to weather the storms? And see, the problem is when a market's down and somebody's lost more than they can withstand, meaning, let's say I'm not capable, I wouldn't be able to withstand more than a 10 or a 15% loss in my portfolio. Anything more than that, I wouldn't be happy with. Okay, well then all of a sudden, if your plan never gets you to that point, you can withstand it and keep on moving down the road. However, if you find yourself in a situation and you have that 15% number in your mind and you're down 22%, you do something. And guess what that is? You start selling. And when you start selling and changing the plan, you've changed the entire formula now. The recipe is gone. And that's the problem, Scott. Most people just don't have what is needed. And that's the actual written financial plan. They haven't tested their portfolio to see how it would perform in all these different markets. And the idea is you just have to be allocated in a manner that you can withstand when the markets do things we just don't like.
So Mark, in your practice, you often talk about the importance of a plan, as you do on your radio show as well. What is the first step in creating a good retirement plan?
Well, the first step is sitting down with someone, a fiduciary, sit down with someone that's licensed, that's going to do what's in your best interest, and somebody that's a true financial planner, not a stockbroker. And nothing mean about saying that about stockbrokers. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you're trying to build a financial plan, you don't need to be sold something. You're trying to really look at the risk and the standard deviation, the alpha, the beta, the Sharpe ratio. You want to have a correlation matrix done. A lot of this cool big words and stuff, but the reality is you take all that data and you build an actual financial plan. Think of it this way. Everybody loves the family vacation. So I still got smaller ones. I say smaller, the youngest is 15, but you know, again, we still love the family vacation. So I want you to envision you're ready to go on this trip. You get in the car, you've got the 10 days off, and you start driving. Well, every road will lead you somewhere. It just may not be where you want to go for vacation. Who would do that? Who would just get in the car, pack it, and just start driving and hope you end up at a place you wanted to be? The idea is you would get a roadmap. You would plan where you want to arrive at, how long it will take you, what's the goal. I think of it this way. One of my favorite books was The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Number 2, you start everything with the end in mind. So think about that with a financial plan. We're going to start with the end. What's your goals? What are we trying to do here? And we back up, go backwards. So we start the plan with the end in mind. And then guess what? You end up with what we call a confident financial future. That's how you get the living large retirement plan.
Great, Mark. Thanks again.
Thank you, Scott.
He is the founder and president of Alloy Wealth in Charlotte, North Carolina, Mark Henry. Thanks for joining us here on Retirement News Online.